There, look at the donkey. She's got it. Set the hook. Woo!
I can just keep some spotlight there. I can set a little bit.
Good. You took good. You took good. You took really good. Woohoo! Look at the kid.
Second cast.
Look at that monster. Second cast. That's a monster.
I got fish on.
Sure. You're right, you'll miss it. Maybe. Oh! What did I just say?
There we go.
Need help? You got him?
He's so good. He's so good.
You want me to get him? You got him. Good.
Oh, he got it good in his mouth.
I'm talking about like a different class.
Yeah. Oh. Look at that one.
There you go.
God darn.
Lucky number 11.
Yes.
That's a jack.
Oh, yeah.
Oh! She's still pretty hot. That's a big deal there. I'll let her do her thing a little bit. can't reach her. Oh. There we go. I told you Nadine was going to bite that thing sooner or later. Oh. How about it? The A-rig. Oh, that's a nice, healthy, fat fish. 5.5. There he is. That's a bigger fish too. Yeah. That's a regroup. Maybe the big ones and the little ones off.
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah.
one. That's a good one. Oh yeah. That's a nice one. Oh yeah. Look at that. Take her easy. Take her easy. Come here. Dude, I think the big one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. She freaking ate it. Oh no, she came out. Take her easy. Take her easy. Here, man. Darn it.
Got her? Now you got her.
Oh, yeah. That's a monster. Take a look at that. Right there. Yeah. Woo! Right there. Eat me. Yeah. Oh,
Solid.
that's a solid fish right there, boys and girls. Right there. Solid.
Oh,
I always tell them 3 things to bass fishing. 1, you and yourself. Remember. Number 2 is you and the fish. And then number 3, and way down at the bottom, number 3. Way down there. With the other guys.
that's a better fish.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh!
You might want to put that thing on lock here. Wow. Oh, fish in
Finally got a good one.
Yep.
Finally got a good one.
Yeah, we did.
There we go. Hold that thing.
Oh, bladed jig.
Nice and good. Yes.
Long thing, man. This 4-pounder probably. Nice one.
That's a nice one. On the way.
Yep.
Nice. Three
Nah,
and a half.
3.5, maybe 4 pounds. Feels good, like he's got some weight to him. That's her. You got her. There you go, Sieg.
Got a big one here.
It's definitely her. Isn't it?
Yes, I got the scale on the freaking
Oh, that thing's all heavy. Isn't
All right.
She's skinny, but boy, she's old, isn't she?
Yes, sir. Let's see here. We got her good too.
Okay. She ate it that time. Yeah. What a fish. Good job, Sieg. Good job. Get her photo. All right.
Right there, nice one. They make them big in Mississippi. That's a good one. Gosh darn. Look at that. She's a beauty.
Get 2 loaves. 2 loaves. Oh, we didn't eat all that loaf last night.
No, we didn't.
No, yeah. Just a couple of pieces left.
No. Whew. I would say we're just about done here. Show that one last bass. The last one.
Last call, baby.
Last call.
Probably 50 or 60 of them.
Hey, welcome. This is Sieg with Fish Out Loud, and I left the beach to drive up to Mississippi to visit a good friend of mine, Paul Elias here, who has a 1982 Bassmaster Classic champion and also holds the record 4 days over 132 pounds. Paul, I just want to say thank you for welcoming me to your lake. Tell me a little bit about your lake and how long have you been here?
Oh, this is just an awesome lake. And first of all, I've really enjoyed having you in, Sieg. And this lake, I built this house in 1994. The lake's been flooded since about 1990, 92. And it's just been an awesome lake. It's produced a ton of fish. I don't know how many fish I've caught over 10 pounds on this lake. Caught a 14 pounder on this lake. That's my biggest ever. But, it's one of those lakes that it's a little bit difficult to fish, but when you figure it out, it's got some really big ones in it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can see this thumb with this Band-Aid on it, it's proof of how many fish we've caught over the last few days here. It's absolutely tremendous. What we want to do is we want to discuss some of the baits that we used, and not to worry, we're going to have links below here where you guys can get these and try them out on your favorite body of water. And let's start out with the bait that we caught the most fish on. By the way, conditions, fall time, right?
Yes, and in the fall, there's a transition period where everything gets tough. If you've noticed, if you follow tournaments and things, if you've noticed some of these tournament weights have been really low, and that's because of the time of year. October, to me, is one of the hardest months of the year, just about anywhere you go, unless you go way up in the northeast or north middle section of the country. But it can be really hard. So we had a little trouble figuring them out, but once we figured them out, we caught them. And one of the main things about fall is shad. Follow the bait, you catch the fish.
And the bait that we had the most success with was the Lipless Crankbait in a blue chrome color. All right, 3/4 ounce, right?
3/4 ounce size.
And we tried different ways, and we just found the best way was just to cast and reel as fast as you can. Gives those bass no time to think about what's going on, and they smoked it, and we caught some big ones, and we've got them on video to see this. So we tried yo-yoing, we tried my rip and rattle technique, but we just found out casting and reeling was probably the easiest thing to do, right?
It definitely was. It made it real simple. It's kind of like dummy baits. You got 2 treble hooks on there, you throw it out, you reel it in, all of a sudden there's meat on it.
Exactly, and they were eating it pretty good.
Yeah, they were.
Now, the big fish that we caught was caught by Paul, was actually caught on the first morning on the second cast, and then you caught that on a...
I caught this on a deep diving crankbait. Bait runs about 15 to 17 feet deep, and the fish was in about 10 to 12 feet of water. That second cast, I thought, oh boy, it's going to be a great day. But we'd had one of the most severe cold fronts that we've had so far. Northeast, north wind really blowing. it made it a hard day. That first day was like a 4 or 5 bite day. So we kicked it up after that, but that was really the only fish on the deep diving crankbait.
Exactly. All right, we also got them on this chatterbait. Paul, talk a little bit about the chatterbait here.
Yeah, you know, bladed jigs been around for several years now, and they catch a ton of fish on them. A lot of tournaments won on them, and basically it's the same thing as, you know, I said, a dummy bait, as far as being able to just throw out and reel in, like on that vibrating lure. Well, basically it's the same thing with a chatterbait or a bladed jig, and you know, but you've got a larger diameter hook and but one hook. And the key to this was, we were throwing at stumps and logs and things like that. The key to this was making a pretty accurate cast and reeling your bait right by the stump or right by the log, and they were just coming out and smoking it. And, you know, on a chatterbait, you want to use, you know, a heavier action rod, medium heavy to heavy action rod. We were using 20-pound test white peacock fluorocarbon and 7.3 to 1 gear ratio brew and reel, and basically, you know, casting by the objects, reeling it back by. And one of the key things you want to remember about a chatterbait, and I've noticed this all over the country, is you really want to pay attention to your line when you're reeling it in, because for some reason this bait, they suck this bait in and they move off to the left or right pretty quick, and you don't even realize you got a fish. So you want to be looking so you can get that good hook set on.
Yeah, I think that's really important to always keep an eye on your line anyway, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because when the money's on the line, you don't want to be losing it. All right, let's talk about the Tokyo rig.
Yeah, now the Tokyo rig is a new rig, you know, fairly new rig that I wanted to experiment around with a little bit while Sieg was here this week, and so I had it tied on and did pretty good on it. But basically what you got is a wide gap, 90-degree bend hook, and all you do, you've got a wire coming off the end of the split ring. You got a swivel on here and a split ring, and basically all you're doing is you're taking your weight, whatever size weight you decide on, whichever way you're fishing there, how deeper water you're fishing in, you just slide it up on the wire, and you put a little 90-degree bend in the wire there, and that holds your weight on. So basically what's going on, and Sieg's got a picture of, you know, the actual way we were rigging it, and that's a Mann's jelly bug, little 4.5 inch bait. Works real well, and you know, and you're just pulling that through the water. And you know, this is kind of, you know, you got the drop shot deal, which I'm sure everybody knows about. And this is basically a way to do something similar to that with maybe heavier action stuff, you know, like a heavier line. I was throwing that one on braid with a 20-pound monofilament leader tied on, and you know, bigger fish, you know, so we got a little bit heavier action tackle.
All right, Paul, tell us a little bit about this. I was intrigued when I saw this.
Yeah, now this is awesome. This is a new bait that Mann came out with this past year. It's called a SpringR worm. This bait has a spring from one end to the other, and it really gives it a quivering action. It's just a constant action on this thing. Anytime it's in the water, it's moving. So, and basically it's a wacky rig deal. It's got a little eye right in the middle of the bait for where you need to go through. And if you'll just take your wacky rig hook, run it through a couple of those springs and bring it back out, the bait will stay on there real secure. And I mean, just an awesome quivering action when that thing's falling to the bottom. But something you want to check out, Mann SpringR worm.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that out. I just found out about this, and just the action enough is to drive bass crazy. All right, let's finish it up with the rig that Paul changed the world when it came to the umbrella rigs. And FLW, 104 plus pounds over 4 days. Paul?
Yeah, you know, the umbrella rig, or the Alabama rig as I refer it to, is basically, you know, it's a They make them in several different forms now, but what I was throwing was the original Alabama rig. It was a 5-bait rig. The head was a little bigger than this. The wires were a little longer, and I had bigger swim baits on it than what you're looking at right here. But basically, this bait, from late fall all the way up to the spawn in the spring, I feel like is the most awesome, consistent bait there is. Basically what you're doing, you got 5 arms here. Of course, this one has blades on it. These are 1/4 ounce heads with like 4-inch, little 4-inch swim baits on it. I was throwing 5-inch swim baits on 3/8 ounce heads when I won that tournament. But basically what happens in the fall, especially the late fall, once the water cools off, the bait fish start finding their comfort zone, and most of the time it's over deep water. And what happens is the bass go out there, the schools of bigger bass go out there and suspend under these schools of shad. And so I figured that out in the tournament, and I was basically taking that rig, throwing it out there where those shad were, counting it down underneath them, and then just reeling back in slowly, and those big fish were hammering in it. So, but the Alabama rig, you want to adapt your tackle to it. You want to use a pretty heavy action rod, FX custom rod, at least a medium heavy action to heavy action. And you want to use, I was using 65-pound braid in that tournament, 50-pound braid while we were fishing the past 3 days. But you want heavy line, heavy action. You got big diameter hooks, but it catches some hogs, man. I'm telling you, it's an awesome way to fish.
Absolutely. And the great thing about this is all these baits are different types of tools. What we're fishing here is we're fishing fall time conditions, going into winter, trying to figure out where these fish are at. And this time of year, this is a killer. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to make comments below here. Paul and I will answer them. And we're here to teach you how to catch more and bigger fish. And remember, you're always just
one cast away.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man.
All right. We'll see you soon.